You mean very interesting. It was stupid.
Yes, it was stupid. But it was also very interesting.
Not as interesting as it was stupid.
Nonetheless, it was still interesting.
Stupid.
Interesting.
All right. It was interesting.
But it was also stupid.
Oh, there you go. Interesting. Very interesting. And we have an interesting show for you this morning. Let me hold up something for you. Why is this woman holding up pickles? Why am I holding up pickles? These are not dill pickles. These are bread and butter pickles. Why? That is the question. Only if you stay tuned right here on the I Love Ann show with Coffee Talk with Ann Eller, will you know the answer to why am I holding up a canned jar of pickles? There you go. All right, stay tuned right here on WCRS. How's that for spiking the day here on a Friday morning? We've made it to Friday morning. That's right. I am excited. Let's see how Penny's doing this morning. Not excited. Okay, she's just snoozing here this morning. I don't expect we will have any problems out of Penny today, because we took our proper walk. We did our proper business. I tell you what, scheduling everything is a problem. And here I am, trying to go here, go there, do this, do that. It's all great. But then you have Penny, and she is constantly watching me. And when she thinks she is not getting her due, she can cause me problems. Like walking into my office last night and going, "What is this?" I hope I don't need to say more. You get my drift. We haven't had this problem in months. And she just looked at me and said, "You need to pay more attention to me." Yes, that's what Penny said. So we had a sit down. We talked about it. She's just looking the other way like, "I can't believe you are talking about our private conversations." So she has agreed that things need to be different. So I'm going to try hard. Penny's going to try hard. We're here this morning with the show, and here we go. All right, we got a lot to talk about here today. Weather. What is the weather? That is the first question to answer here this morning. Right now, it feels, I'm going to use the word oppressive outside. Yes, oppressive. So what do we have? We have it's 83 degrees. Already feels like 91 degrees. And we're only supposed to get up to a high of 95. So you add another 8, 9 degrees. We're going to be over 100 degrees today. So it's going to be hot and, as I say, oppressive. So today, high of 95, low of 73, a 40% chance of some showers. Sunny skies in the morning, scattered showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High around 95. So that's what we've got for today. How about Saturday? Saturday looks like a high of 93, low of 73, and a 20% of some potential rain, not very much. Sunday comes in, again, it's a ditto day, high of 93, low of 72, 24% chance of some rain. Monday, high of 91, low of 73, and a 40% chance of some rain. Scattered thunderstorms in the morning this time. That's unusual on Monday now. Partly cloudy skies late, chance of rain 40%. And Tuesday, a high of 91, low of 75. Looks like the rain is going to be out of here. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now for the weather. Not too bad, but I tell you what, if you have any breathing problems at all, I highly recommend taking it easy out there, taking it easy. And while I don't think we're having any effects of it, they're having some huge wildfires up in Canada, and they're talking about the air quality heading this way into the United States. I just wonder, where's the gate? Can't we tell Canada to keep their own smoke in their country? Come on. Anyways, that's a little bit about the weather here, what we have going on as far as the weather, because the weather will be the weather be fine, or whether the weather be not, whether the weather be cold, or whether the weather be hot. We'll weather the weather, whatever the weather. Yes, that is true. We do have to weather the weather. But one of the things you want to make sure that you are checking on is any of our seniors that in this hot weather, particularly if they don't have air conditioning. One of the things that I did hear about, and I'm not really sure I understand it, but it says over 90 degrees to have a fan running can actually make it hotter. I guess maybe because it's circulating nothing but hot air. So, and that's not listening to me. Okay. Anyways. So you need to be careful of that and the direction that the fan, is running. So something to think about there. Box fans are one of the best because they're easily movable and can move large amounts of air. So be careful of that. And also for our pets that are outside, Penny loves to run, but she goes outside in this weather, and 5 minutes after we're out there, she's like going, I'm done. She don't care. She's like, I gotta get out of here. Can we go back inside in the air conditioning? Yeah, she just lays there. Now, one of the differences, I gotta just take an aside here for a second. One of the differences between Penny and my Weimaraner Gracie, Gracie would never get in the sun. She never wanted to lay in the sun. She had to be in the shade. And I always thought it was because she had very short hair and although she never would have, but getting sunburned. Now, Penny is totally different. Penny will go out and flop down in the sun and lay there in the sun for, 10, 15 minutes, just be laying there breathing, roll over on her other side and enjoy the sun. So amazing little difference in how dogs perceive things. But my point is, dogs and heat do not go together. And one thing dogs outside need is cool water. You put water in a hot metal dish. I've talked about this many times. And then you walk away and you come back that afternoon and you notice they haven't drank any of the water. Well, put your hand in there and see if it's nice enough you could take a bath in it. You surely would not want your dog to drink warm water. So make some accommodations during this time. One of the great things you can do, take a soda bottle, plastic one, leave some space at the top though, put it in the freezer and freeze it overnight. Then when you put the water in the dish, that's like a big ice cube. So there are things you can do to help, but you also need to make sure that your dog has some shade to get out of the sun. Worst thing in the world is to see a dog that is chained out and has no way to get out of the sun. Yes, they may have a doghouse, but the doghouse is sitting right there where the sun is going to hit it all day long. So take that into consideration. All right, so let's see. We've got Penny on good behavior today. Actually, I've thought about this. It's not that Penny's going to be on good behavior. It's on Ann's going to be on good behavior. Because when Ann does everything possible to make sure that Penny's day is good, guess what? It's a great day. So, yes, and she's laying there just saying, and now that you got that straight, we can go on and have a good day. Well, all righty then. Okay, so I want to start out with a quote here today. I think you'll like this one. I think it goes to the to the depths of life. It's deep. Old Chinese proverb. When you only have 2 pennies left in the world, and if it would be possible, buy a loaf of bread with one and a lily with the other. What you think, Greenwood? Well, number one, you couldn't buy a loaf of bread with only 2 pennies, Anne. No, but we're talking about Chinese proverb from many, many thousands of years ago. My question, did Chinese have pennies? Anyways, the thought of it is that and you know, Dave Ramsey often talks about taking care of the necessities. You've got to take care of your 4 walls and your food, and then you do the others. I think this is a lovely way to say that we need the bread, we need our housing, but we also need to make a life, that we need to have other things, whether it's prayer, beauty. We need to know that our family is there and keeping them close around us. When things are tough, we should try to keep our family right there around us. Right, Penny? If that's what you say. Yes, okay. Anyways, that I thought was a great way to start the day. When you have only 2 pennies left in the world, buy a loaf of bread with one and a lily with the other. And, you know, you can expand that. If you only have $20 left, buy a loaf of bread with $10 and buy a lily with the other 10. Well, you know, it's relative, folks. All right, so there's a lot of topics I want to get to here this morning, since we didn't get to most of them yesterday due to the interruption by Princess Penny and her needs. All right, there is, I'm going to list out what we're going to cover here today. Clemson's grid modernization. They are working on something that I think you'll find very interesting. We're also going to talk just a quick update on anything that we know about Lindsey Graham and his funeral arrangements. Have they made any? World leaders. The state budget, that's just a mess down there on that. Where are they going with that? And what is it going to take for them to get together? I think, do you remember I'll come back to that. All right, we'll come back to that. And then, of course, we have a little update on the Greenwood moratorium, where they're going to be meeting, what's happening on that. And robot teachers, a topic sure to make you want to wonder what is going to happen to teaching. It's going to be interesting, particularly because we keep paying our teachers more, and now, well, I'll get to that when we get there, folks. And what about daylight savings time? Where are you going to weigh in on daylight savings time, having it year-round, or? And then I got to tell you about why I have pickles. Don't be in a pickle. Stay right here on WCRS Radio. There you go. That's a little bit about the show here today. Hope you're going to have time to stay with us, and I hope you're going to weigh in with us on some of these topics. You can go ahead and weigh in now if you want. If you want to say something about the budget, if you want to say something about robot teachers, which you may not know anything about, you can, of course, do that. And where we're at, actually, I also have, as far as Lindsey Graham, I have a little survey that's come out. This is a pre-survey, so we'll see how this shapes up futuristically. But let's talk about the Clemson grid. This is Clemson grid and the modernization and what they're going to be doing. So, I thought this one was a most interesting, and the South's power grid is aging. Well, we've known that for years. Clemson will help fix it with a multi-million-dollar effort. You got to stay tuned on this one. This is pretty fascinating. Clemson University has been tapped as part of a multi-partner, federally funded Carolinas power grid enhancement effort that aims to deliver safe, reliable, and cost-effective electricity, all the more pressing and as artificial intelligence, data centers, advanced manufacturing, and a ballooning population increase demand in the region. So they're calling this Carolina's Engine for Grid Modernization. It's among a dozen public-private NSF engines nationwide selected July 14 by the National Science Foundation. And so it says basically that they're putting this group together and they are going to be funded by the federal government. And it says each one of these engines will receive $15 million of federal research money over 2 years, and successful projects are eligible for up to $160 million in funding over 10 years. So what they're going to try to do is meet the rising demand of energy from a statewide effort. And we've had discussions. I can remember having discussions with Jeff Duncan about our grid right here in South Carolina. Never mind the whole country's grid. This is a constant thing, and we've never addressed it. And how long have you been doing this, Ann? Since 2007. And this topic seems to come up on a regular basis. And we still look at our grid as one of the vulnerable places. Well, South Carolina, in conjunction with Clemson University and a whole lot of money from the federal government, is going to be looking at this. So Clemson, it says, is uniquely equipped to design and test the emerging technologies that will secure our energy future and has a long history of industry collaboration to deploy meaningful innovation. So they must work together to see how to make this happen. And this is going to be an interesting project, and hopefully in the end that they will find something that will be able to work, because I was at dinner last night, and people were saying, we don't have any internet, we don't have this, we don't have that. What is happening here? We're supposed to have internet. People's power goes off for a few minutes here, there, and everywhere. So we've got to get this straight, and we've got to get it solid and a grid that cannot be penetrated by China or. So it says there are 12 of these engines selected this year. The second of 2 cohorts since 2022 will be spearheaded by universities and research centers nationwide. Topics covered will include biofuel, seafood supply, laser technology, semiconductors, AI-powered orthopedic care, quantum computing, energy storage, and the domestic supply of rare earth minerals. And so, for its part, Clemson will play a major role in the Carolinas Engine project, supplying the Duke Energy e-grid facility at its Charleston Innovation Campus to help develop and test enhancing technologies. Now, I realize that's all a mouthful. I just wanted to bring this up, but because I think it is so important that we are looking at how we are going to power energy, regardless of whether we have a data center here or whatever. But we do have more people moving into our state. We do have an aging grid. How are we going to cover this? So I think this is terrific. It says, taking a lead in the grid modernization project is the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, which in addition to Clemson is working with more than 100 partners across the Carolinas. The project spans 36 counties and includes utilities, manufacturers, investors, economic development organization, and state and local governments, is what Clemson is saying. So this award will help strengthen our ability to meet future demand, support economic opportunities, and ensure the Carolinas remain leaders in innovation and job creation. So there you go. It is something that is huge. It is great that Clemson is going to be on the cutting edge of this project, as well as working across state lines to North Carolina. So this is an extremely important and not something that has been emphasized before. No, we've just talked about what a problem it is and why aren't we doing something about it. So here it is in 2026, and they will start doing something about it. So this is what's happening. I thought you might be interested to hear about it and know that this is what they're working on in conjunction with other industries and with North Carolina and our state governments, etc. So interesting topic. Thought it deserved some kudos to get out there, because God knows we do need to have knowledge about these things that are happening. So there you go. All right. Now, what else do we have going on here this morning? Well, let me see, Ann. What do we have going on? So these grants, more than 100 partners, big deal, big deal. So is South Carolina preparing for the future? I think that is the question that we want to know. And do you think that we are preparing for the future? I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Well, we just had a question come in here this morning. What happened to all the COVID infrastructure money? Part of that was supposed to provide broadband internet for everybody. Let's see what else Stephanie says. Especially school-age children. Well, the only thing I could say about that, I don't know what's happened to the money. I do know across Greenwood County that has been one of the things that Senator Billy Garrett was impassioned about getting that covered, and I believe they have pretty much accomplished that mission across South Carolina, but particularly in Greenwood and our surrounding counties here. Down there in McCormick was a desert. I believe that's been taken care of. So they have done things with that. Now, what happened to all the COVID infrastructure money? I do not know. I do believe, if I remember correctly, that you either had to use it or lose it, meaning it had to go back to the federal government. I don't know if that money was included in that or not, but I do believe there were many things where that's why we saw our local governments going out and buying things, because if they didn't go ahead and purchase them, they would lose the money. So that's one topic. All right. Anybody else got anything this morning? You can comment right here on my Facebook page, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. On the Facebook, WCRS Radio. Yeah, you know, sometimes I feel like a robot. I just go into auto drive. Of course, you can call in also on the text line for our legacy line, 864-332-93, 864, see, I'm in autopilot, 864-229-7984, 864-229-7984. That is on our legacy line. For me, it's much easier if you do it on our new thing, our new number, 864-332-9355. All right, let's move on to another topic here this morning. Well, what would be that topic, Ann? I don't know. Let's see. What are we moving on to? Yes, okay. Lindsey Graham. I don't think they have made, I haven't seen anything overnight on any movement as to when they are going to have this. I think I heard something where Netanyahu is going to hold off his visit until he was supposed to be coming. I think he's holding off his visit until they make plans on what they're going to do for Lindsey Graham. I'm going to tell you what. I better not say it. You know, when you have to contact everybody else to be able to make a plan, when it is the people of America, it is the people of South Carolina who are the people who should be considered in this. But when we're holding off making plans on when he's going to lay in state, I guess we should stay in the federal government, when he's coming home to South Carolina, where they're going to have this in South Carolina, it does seem to me that it is the people of our country that should be coming first. Instead, we are more worried about whether, well, I'll say Netanyahu, some of these leaders, Ukraine, whoever, all these leaders, when they can get here, when their jets can fly over here. It seems to me we're going about this backwards. I mean, I know they want to have the biggest political show and everything else. But really, should we not be worrying about the people and the people that he worked with in Congress and the influence that he had, not only in the federal government, but in South Carolina? It seems to me this is backwards. Set a date, tell these people, get your jets over here if you want to come. But let's not be holding up Lindsey Graham, keeping him on ice until they can coordinate with everybody on when they would like to come. I realize from a federal level it would take quite a bit to coordinate this, but it's time to announce it. And if somebody can't come, then they need to send a representative in his place. That's what we've had to do when we had funerals that were planned overseas. They went ahead and planned them. If you couldn't go, they sent a representative. So there you go. Ann Eller has spoken. The people of South Carolina want to get this going. I mean, this is going to be terrible. Next week on the 21st, people can start signing up for Lindsey Graham's seat. Isn't that amazing? We don't say it for one of our two senators' seats, since Tim Scott has one. We say for Lindsey Graham's seat. And everybody knows it, and everybody says it. All right. But I did have a poll that has come out that I thought you might be interested to see who is in the lead here. They have put out their first poll on this. I mean, if we don't get this man buried sometime soon, we could already have the new candidate, and they're still messing around with, well, so-and-so can't come, we'll have to wait. How can you coordinate X amount of international leaders to come to this country to honor Lindsey Graham? I don't think you can. You've just got to pick a date and go with it, right? All right. Well, that's my advice to them. Like they care. All right. So this is a new poll that just came out. Let's see. Right now, let's see, the stakes are high, both nationally. The victory of this hastily called special primary election is tantamount to becoming U.S. Senator-elect, as Democrats haven't won a statewide race in 20 years. And, you know, from Annie Andrews, she was gearing up to run against Lindsey Graham. Now, her campaign has to be in a little of chaos because they don't know who they're running against. So here's just the numbers. Norman leads the initial field of prospective GOP candidates with the support of 16.4% of likely special primary voters. And again, this is a pretty select group, unfortunately, that will be voting for this. So this is a new Emerson survey. Trailing him is upstate Mark Lynch at 13%. First District Congressman Nancy Mace at 10.1%. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, 9.9%. 7th District Congressman Russell Fry, 9%, who is the one that President Trump has said he would like to see throw his hat in the ring. This one blows my mind. Status quo Governor Henry McMaster, 7.7%. And Lindsey Graham's sister, Nadine, Nordone, is 5.9%. Former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford, 5.4%. So that's the range, from 5.4 to 16.4. That's how this horse race is shaping up at this present moment. Just under 5% of respondents indicated they were supporting somebody else, while 17.9% were undecided. So no candidate begins as a clear favorite among voters to replace the late senator, said Spencer Kimball, executive director of Emerson College Polling. So that's what you got going. We'll see where that goes. Of particular interest in Emerson's poll was the potential impact of Trump's involvement in the race. While the president retains a solid approval rating in South Carolina, 77.3% of primary voters view him favorably, including 56 who view him very favorably. Their support does not translate into the ability to anoint a winner in this contest. Isn't that interesting? Everybody is jockeying again to get President Trump's endorsement, and yet they're saying that it doesn't hold a lot of water. It says, in fact, Trump's endorsement, which was put through the ringer during the last election cycle, is weaker than ever. According to the poll, 40.6% of GOP voters said Trump's endorsement would make them more likely to support a candidate. However, an identical 40.6% said it would make no difference in their decision. So what do you think about that? If Trump endorses somebody, would you be more likely to vote for that candidate, or are you going to make up your own mind regardless of President Trump's endorsement? So there you go. I think that's an interesting one. So what do you think? Are you of the power that President Trump has to weigh in, or are you of the power to the people to be able to make their own decisions? I think that, and this is just a personal note aside, I think that Pamela Evette worked so hard to get President Trump's endorsement that she forgot that having some of the other things that go with it would have made a difference to her. So in the end, for Pamela Evette, it did not translate into an automatic win in South Carolina. In fact, when President Trump came back and endorsed both of them, it actually created quite a blow for Pamela Evette, the lieutenant governor. But I think it's going to be interesting to see who actually puts their name in the hat. We won't have to wait very long. That'll be next week, the 21st through the 28th. And then literally you have, 2.5 weeks to having a primary on the 11th. And then if nobody wins the primary, doesn't get 50%, then there'll be a runoff, on the 28th. So there you go. Let's see. We've had a couple of comments come in here this morning. Stephanie says, in my opinion, and she writes in big letters, my opinion. Okay. She said, Trump's address last night to the country shows why his endorsement does not hold water. Oh, my God, Stephanie. Stephanie, what are you saying? He's been too wishy-washy on so many subjects that nobody knows what to believe. I think Trump, I can address that. I think Trump is very concerned about the midterms. I think the very lack of having the SAVE Act, being able to prove that you are a resident of this country, that you legitimately can vote, is something that we should be addressing. And the very fact that the House and the Senate, particularly the Democrats, do not want to go there and keep causing a problem in moving that forward is a big concern to him. I think he is concerned about the midterms. If he does not win the if the Republicans do not win the midterms, you know what we'll be spending the next 2 years on? Trying to impeach him, trying to block everything at every juncture. What will happen in the Senate with the filibuster? Will they pass it for a simple majority? Or will they leave the 60-plus votes in place? Everybody says, and everybody knows it, that the Democrats will get rid of that so that just a simple majority will pass. Kind of makes you question why the Republicans aren't doing it with Leader Thune. But anyways, I think he is very concerned. I think he tries to read the public, what the public winds are blowing, which way things are blowing. And but he is concerned, and if he doesn't get this war in Iran out of the way, and so far it's still there, then this is a problem for Trump and the Republicans. It's a problem for Trump and the Republicans. So we'll just have to wait and see. She also said, I agree with you, it should only be in the United States that is concerned. But Graham did say, I am Israel first. Yes, but it is the people of this country and his family, and having a lay in state and national and this type of thing is fine, and then bring him home and have our service here in South Carolina. So anyways, that's my point, and I'm sticking to it. Let's move on to another topic here this morning, since I've got more to talk about. The state budget. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the state budget, a little bit about the Greenwood moratorium, not much. And then I've got a great article about the robot teachers. You got to stay tuned for that one. And why do I have this jar of pickles? Don't be in a pickle. Don't be uninformed. Stay tuned right here on the I Love Ann Show with me, Ann Eller. And, of course, let sleeping dogs lie. Well, she doesn't look like she's sleeping, but she is lying there. Princess Penny. Hey, we'll be back in just a minute. Don't you go away. Take it away. Princess Penny. Hey, we'll be back in just a minute. Don't you go away. Take it away. An American 250 revolutionary moment. As America celebrates its 250th birthday, let's meet 4 South Carolinians who helped change the course of history. They were Thomas Hayward Jr., Thomas Lynch Jr., Arthur Middleton, and Edward Rutledge. They were among the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence, pledging their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor for American liberty. But signing the Declaration wasn't simply adding their names to a document. It was an act of treason against the British Crown, a decision that could cost them everything. Yet, they stood with their fellow delegates and boldly declared that the American colonies were, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. The story begins on June 7, 1776, when Virginia delegate Richard Henry Lee introduced what became known as the Lee Resolution, before the Second Continental Congress. It called for the colonies to break their allegiance to Great Britain and declare themselves independent. South Carolina was well represented. Haywood, Middleton, and Rutledge were already serving in Congress. They were joined by Thomas Lynch, Jr., who traveled to Philadelphia after his father, Thomas Lynch, Sr., suffered a stroke. Over the next several weeks, Thomas Jefferson drafted what would become the Declaration of Independence. Congress debated every word before approving the final text on July 4, 1776. Nearly a month later, on August 2nd, the delegates gathered in Philadelphia to sign the historic document. The sacrifices of South Carolina signers did not end there. Thomas Lynch, Jr. and his wife were lost at sea. During the British siege of Charleston in 1780, Haywood, Middleton, and Rutledge were captured and imprisoned in St. Augustine, Florida. They remained prisoners until they were exchanged in July of 1781. After the war, they returned home to help rebuild both South Carolina and the young nation they had risked everything to create. Rutledge later became governor of South Carolina. Their signatures on the Declaration were more than ink on parchment. They were promises of courage, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief that freedom was worth the cost. And 250 years later, the legacy of South Carolina's four signers continues to remind us that the birth of our nation was shaped by ordinary men who made extraordinary choices. This is WCRS Radio, sharing the voice of 1776, brought to you by WCRS Radio and the Issaquena Chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. The road to the revolution in the upstate. See how our county survived and thrived during revolutionary times. Excellent opportunity to see history up close at the Greenwood Museum. Many children activities, lectures, and even a kids' day at the Greenwood Museum. Stop in Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. Experience an ever-changing exhibit at the Greenwood Museum. Remember, the Greenwood Museum, dedicated to sharing, saving, and celebrating Greenwood history. Brought to you by the museum and the Greenwood County 250 Coalition. The road to the revolution in the upstate. Opening reception Thursday, June 4th, 5 p.m. at the Greenwood Museum. Sponsored by the museum and Greenwood County 250 Coalition. Featuring an upcoming lecture series on who were the patriots, who were the loyalists, who held Star Fort, and how did people live in the backcountry. Remember, the Greenwood Museum, dedicated to sharing, saving, and celebrating Greenwood's history. See you Thursday, June 4th, 5 p.m.
Very interesting.
What do you mean, very interesting? It was stupid.
Yes, it was stupid. But it was also very interesting.
Not as interesting as it was
Stupid.
Nonetheless, it was still interesting.
stupid.
I love that. You know, so much of the news that we talk about, so many of the things, they're so serious that they're actually stupid. Don't you agree? When you really look at the news and you see how it's all coming together, doesn't it just boggle your mind? That's why I've decided, the budget, they're still talking about it. They can't seem to get their acts together. They still are having a problem whether who's going to get earmarks. Are they just going to have no earmarks? What is the Senate? And they're blaming each other and pointing fingers at whose fault it is. There you go. That's the discussion on the budget here this morning. I don't believe between yesterday afternoon and today they've made any decision. They may actually get through the whole month of July with no budget. How about that? All right. Well, I think it is time, though, for interesting topics to talk about. And robot teachers is the one that I would like to discuss here this morning. I heard about this yesterday, listening to some radio program or something. I said, I got to check this out. Well, did you know that the school district in Western New York is planning to use a humanoid AI teaching assistant that reportedly costs $57,000 once? Not $57,000 a year, just once. Of course, I'm sure there'll be upgrades and cost to keeping it running and all this type of stuff. But anyways, they only pay it once, $57,000. This new robot has realistic silicone skin. It has long hair. It has facial expressions. It sits at a desk. It does not move around. So you're not looking at how it walks or anything. It sits at a desk, and it's designed to assist teachers and interact with students in the classroom. So what will this robot do? Will it be taking over teaching? According to what they're saying, no. It will answer routine questions, helping students individually, although of note, because of HIPAA concerns, we can't have the child have a name, so each child now has to have a number. So number 1, what is your question? Number 5, what is your question? The robot can also remember what the question was from yesterday, so if they had to cut short their conversation, the robot can bring that conversation back up. It can assist with lessons, and this was one of the things I found most interesting. It can help keep the teacher on track. The teacher loses her place, the robot can say, Miss Williams, you were talking about before you got off topic. All right? So it actually becomes another tool, seriously, this becomes another tool in the classroom. And so my question to you this morning, if you'd like to weigh in on this question, is what do you think about a robot teacher? Would you, if you heard that your child had a robot sitting in the room, what would you feel about this? Would you be okay with it? Would you not be okay? Because these type of things will be coming to South Carolina too. So that's a question I'm asking here this morning. Love for you to weigh in on that. So 864-332-9355, or of course right there on Facebook, WCRS Radio. Go ahead and let me know what you're thinking. Would you, if you heard that your child had a robot sitting there to answer questions and to assist the teacher, how would you feel about it? I think it's quite interesting. Would you want your child to have a robot as an assistant now? We're talking as an assistant, not necessarily as a full-blown teacher. Although we do know this, don't we? When something starts that way, what can happen? Yeah, that's right. Is it going to be an issue? Is it going to be an issue? That is the question. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. Do you think that we should have robot teachers? Even if they look humanoid and look like they should be able to answer questions, what will the effect be on the students? I don't know. This is a question. 864-332-9355. We're getting ready to go back to school next week. What if you saw a teacher's assistant sitting there that was a robot? What if you walked in the room and you looked at this person sitting at a desk and you're saying to yourself, well, why isn't she getting up? I'm here. Would you like your child to be talked about as being number 1, number 2? What if that child was number 25? Number 25, you can ask your question now. Interesting topics. Anyways, now I've saved the best till last. And it's not about pickles. One of these companies involved in developing these lifelike humanoid robots is Realbotics, a company known for creating highly realistic, we'll say it this way, companion robots. So that's the connection to the adult companion industry. I'm keeping it above board. I hope you can get the drift. It's generated a lot of discussion because the technology originated there before expanding to other applications. So, what do you think? 864-332-9355 or right here on Facebook. Let me go ahead and slide over here and check out the messages right here on WCRS. 864-332-9355. Check it out, Ann. Yep. Okay. All right, I don't see anybody messaging on that. So y'all have no opinion, huh? Okay, well, you can always weigh in later if you think about this. If you go back and listen to this, send me a little text message about this. Robot assistant teachers. 864-332-9355. That's where we are at here this morning. For my last topic here today, what do you think about my pickles here? Pickles everywhere, pickles. I was at the Veterans Center yesterday, and I was talking to all the different vendors and veterans that were there having a good time. I tell you what, Rosalind Burke, who is the VSO for the Veterans Center, has done this appreciation every year for the last 3, 4, 5. It's been a good while. We've been doing these, and they are so successful. People love to come out. It's very, lots of veterans are there, lots of exhibitors. The exhibitors have things to give out, and then veterans get to enjoy a meal, a light lunch, and they had pizza and cake and little sandwiches. It was great. Nice job, Rosalind and her team over there at the Veterans Center. But as I was walking around, I kept seeing all these canned goods, canned jars, and they said things like medium salsa, hot salsa. They had spaghetti sauce, applesauce, blueberry jelly, strawberry, all these different things there. So I was like, what is going on? And then on the outside of it, it has a very nice label that says Pickles for Heroes. And this one says bread and butter summer of 2025. Well, come to find out, there is a gentleman that is a former veteran who wanted to make sure that veterans had fresh canned goods to eat. So I guess, from what I understand, this is a story, he started canning. And from what I've seen, he must have gotten carried away because he is canning. He even does spaghetti sauce, folks. And he does it for veterans. Now, these canned goods will be at the Veterans Center for veterans to have. They are free for our veterans. He took over 2,200 jars of canned goods to the Veterans Center to be given out, which is why so many tables had these jars on them. He gathers the product. He does all of this. In fact, we are going to have him on our show tentatively. We have him scheduled for next Wednesday right here on WCRS to talk about this whole process. I understand he has rooms just to the ceiling with canned goods. This is a canner extraordinaire. And what a mission he is on. So looking forward to having him on the radio. Should be next Wednesday, and we'll be talking about this talking about this a lot right here. So I got some of the bread and butter pickles. I like bread and butter pickles, so I didn't want to be in a pickle, so I got a container of the pickles. Some of his salsa is actually being used, I understand, this is what I heard, in some Mexican restaurants. He has medium, he has hot salsa, medium salsa, but it is, from what I've heard from people that have tasted, and I haven't tasted anything yet, it is the bomb. Somebody was telling me the spaghetti sauce, they thought it looked a little runny, but they said, well, they'd try it. Added some hamburger to it. She goes, it is out of this world, Ann. So that's a mission to be able to do that, and I want to congratulate him for being a person who wants to do things for veterans, pick them out. He is a veteran, and so this is who we're talking about. His name is Don. What is Don's name? His first name is Don, and I am just excited to have him coming on with us right here on WCRS. It'll be Wednesday afternoon, so you'll have to tune in for that show. All right, now, anything else we need to talk about? We should talk about a few of the events that are going on, some of the events that are going on. Let's see, let's go back over here and see what we have going on. And then we are going to, there we go. I got back to where I was trying to get to. Isn't this great? Well, okay, we do have kind of a funny comment here. Stephanie says, I work in education. Children do not listen, nor do they have respect for adult human teachers. I cannot see them sitting there and what does it say? And behaving for a robot. I think you would have to have robot students for this to work. Oh, that's a good one, Stephanie. Robot students. Yes, robot students. Well, what do you think? Do you think that children would sit still? I don't know. Or would they be enthralled with the idea that they are working with a robot? Now, and she had another cute quip here. I tell you what, Stephanie, you're on a roll this morning. So the robot was rejected as a girlfriend and hired as a teacher. Pretty much. Yep, pretty much. Anyways, no, I think they've got a little different technology, to tell you the truth. All right, let's check out, let's just check out a few of the things that are going on today that you may not know about, or going on this weekend, I should say. We're going to finish up right here. Well, I thought I was. Let's see. Am I on the right? Am I in the right pew? No, I'm not in the right pew. Okay. Well, we'll try going over here. I know they had a food giveaway. There's a lot of things going on, as there always are. There is, maybe I should just do that one. Let's go back over here. There's a backpack giveaway tomorrow. Is that right? Tomorrow, I think. We need to get this information out there to you. So let me see if I can get back to where I need to get here, and we will get that for you. Get that for you as we finish up here today. Benny's been real quiet here this morning. We had quite a conversation yesterday, the way things were going. I was not pleased, and I think she knows it. And now she knows it. Yes, she does. So backpack giveaway, yes. Event details, July 18th, that is tomorrow, 11 a.m. until supplies are gone at the United Way Gym. Free event, first come, first serve while supplies last. Children must be present to receive a backpack. This is brought to you by United Way, Stuff the Bus, and the Kiwanis. And so this is a really good program with school starting next week. They are really excited about it. The children can receive a free backpack while supplies last, help kick off the new school year. We can't wait to see you there. That is at United Way which is right there over there on Phoenix, the United Way Center. So please make sure if you need that, please be there for that. I think that's pretty cool. The South Carolina Little League State Tournament is about to begin. They are doing that out at the YMCA, Greenwood YMCA at Rotary Field. It says, come join us at the Greenwood Y. They have quite a program. They did start yesterday, and then I think they continue through, through Monday. There'll be all kinds of games going on there for Little League. This is the Greenwood Abbeville Little League are doing that. And it's Superhero Night at Legion Field on Saturday for the Flying Monkeys. I have not been out there to see a game. I don't know if you have, but, they are really working hard to involve the community, involve children. July 18th, 7 p.m. I think the doors open at 6. The gates open at 6. It says, come dressed as your favorite superhero character. It is Superhero Night. Superhero Night. They'll also have baseball bingo, which I have no idea what that is, but if you go, you know. So that's another one that's going on. And these are just some of the events you may or may not know about. There's a lot out there. Uptown Greenwood next Saturday, not this Saturday, they are having a Greenwood Rock and Roll Cruisers car show. That'll be going on next Saturday, Uptown Greenwood at the Fountain from 6 to 9. That is such a nice throwback to an old-time community event. I think that's really, really, really great. So I wanted to mention that one. And I also wanted to mention Saturday night during the Festival of Discovery and Blues Cruise, I was walking up the street, minding my own business, thinking about where I was going next. And I walk by John Holloway's Sundance Gallery, and I look inside, and it's all lit up. And first off, I was surprised because it was all lit up. And then I look on the wall, and it says Greenwood's Senior Birds Tacos and Tequila Bar. Well, now I'm pretty interested. So there's people working in there, and I'm going, I did not know about this. And so it is a new Mexican restaurant. They invited me in, not to have dinner, but to show me the place and make it easier for me to take a few pictures. And I met Evelyn, and I believe it is Roy. I think it's Roy, are the owners. And they have another location in Lexington. They have one in Augusta, and I think Greenwood will be their third location. It is Tex-Mex. And they have some traditional Mexican recipes that they'll be using. But really looks great in there, and such a change. I mean, if you just look at the changes that we have seen, John Holloway's studio, Sundance Gallery. I just am totally amazed. I talked to, I think it's Roy. He does all the work on the places, and he said, yeah, he'd been looking at that building for years. He wanted it. And somehow he was able to make a deal with John Holloway and make this come together. So we wish them all the best. I think they'll be open before the end of the month. Probably have a soft opening, but if you're looking for a cool place to work, they are looking for employees there too. So check it out. It's Senor Birds Tacos and Tequila Bar. And they are looking forward to welcoming you, 146 Maxwell Avenue. It says, we are hiring, as is everybody, always hiring. So they would love to hear from you, talk to you. They were in there working the other night. They were very gracious to let me come in and check it all out. So there you go. All right, without much else left to say to do, don't forget about the Greenwood Museum. You can always go up there, check out the Road to the Revolution. We had an excellent interview the other day with with Danny Vaughn, who is the exhibit director, does all the research and exhibits and everything at the Greenwood Museum. Lots of changes coming. It's not a static exhibit, meaning it changes. If you see it one time, you come back a month later, it's probably going to be different. So make sure you go by and see it. And besides that, it's a very cool place to be, meaning the temperature is cool on a hot afternoon. They also have a lot of kids' activities there. It's a great place to take the kids for an hour or so. So make sure you check that out. That's the Greenwood Museum. They are open from 10 to 5 today, 10 to 5 tomorrow, Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. Check it out. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to say adieu. I will be back in the morning. I think we are going to do a little Facebook Live tomorrow morning and some music. We're probably going to do a little review of maybe the week, events coming up, just a little update for the weekend, and then we'll go Facebook silent and go back on the radio and just do music on the radio. So I hope you tune in. Join me tomorrow morning. That's going to do it for me. This is, you know me, Ann Eller, WCRS, and where's Penny? Still laying there being quiet, being good. We've had a good morning here today. So we're going to drop the curtain and say adieu. And don't forget, Pickles. That's right. Pickles, Pickles, Pickles. Next week, Tuesday afternoon, Dr. Kim with Self Regional cardiac specialist will be with us Wednesday afternoon. The Pickle Man will be with us, and we'll see who's going to be else is going to be with us. Also going to have a very special show on Monday morning. You are going to want to tune in for that. More information that you need to be able to make up your mind about one of our important issues facing our community on data centers. So please tune in Monday morning right here on WCRS. We'll have more details coming out on that. But and on Tuesday evening, the Greenwood County Council meeting has been moved from the library. Aghast, what a surprise, to the Greenwood Performing Arts Center, because I know that a lot of people are going to be there. Just because they have passed the moratorium once through the second reading, now is coming up the third reading, and we need everybody to be engaged and to help County Council make sure they make the right decision. That's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. We will now cue the music. Have a great day and have a good Friday. Have a great weekend. That's it. Over and out. Bye-bye, everybody.